The finale to this afternoon's jamboree into all things greener care. We have the wonderful Jamie Gow from Williams Medical Supplies, the country's foremost provider of kit and caboodle to primary care. Jamie's going to tell us all about Williams's greener care activity, which is really interesting because this is coming from an organization that by necessity is heavily involved in transportation, picking, logistics, supplies, and so on. I'm really looking forward to this, Jamie, and thank you so much for giving up a little bit of time. You just need to adjust your display settings again, because at the moment we're looking at that's it. You've got it.
There it is.
Fantastic. You're in business. Thank you, Jamie. I'm going to hand straight over to you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, yeah, last session from us. So, as John mentioned, I'm Jamie Gow. I'm Environmental Health and Safety Manager here at Williams Medical Supplies. And John touched on it. We are the UK's leading supplier of medical goods and services, mainly into NHS primary care. But as you know, we supply to a vast range of organisations right through to the corporate sector. We do hold an ISO 14001 certificate, which is an environmental management system, very much drives continual improvement and reduction of environmental impact. So today's presentation, I'm very much going to run through, where do we fit into the whole kind of sustainability piece, certainly for our customers. And we're going to look at some of the stuff we're doing from a facilities point of view. That's mainly to kind of share what we've done and maybe throw out some ideas as to what others can do from a facilities perspective. But the main bulk of the presentation was going to be how are we actually helping our customers be greener on the grand scale of things. So we'll very much delve a bit deeper into that. So I've got a very similar sort of set of images to a lot of other people. It's probably quite reassuring that everyone's maybe singing from the same hymn sheet. We as a supplier, certainly into the NHS, wanted to understand, as any business, we want to understand the needs of our customers and a very much growing need, certainly within the NHS and other organisations, is the need for their supply chains to be sustainable and resilient. Certainly from looking at the COVID piece. That's a massive importance, certainly to organisations like the NHS. So Williams Medical, we're very much fall into that scope 3 emissions for our customers. Janet just touched on, that's a big focus area for NHS. And as you can see from the kind of right-hand pie chart, it's it's the biggest percentage of, greenhouse gas emissions is supply chain. And that's kind of very much where we fall. One of the main, I suppose, challenges for everyone, right from you guys as a customer through to us as a business, is carbon responsibility. Who is actually responsible for monitoring, measuring carbon and where it emits from? If you very much take using a pair of rubber gloves, or nitrile gloves, shall I say, who's responsible for that carbon? They often get manufactured, often from Asia, no matter which brand you're using, they're from Asia. So there's huge carbon costs to getting that into the UK. Then you're using them once, you're throwing them away. So that's consuming virgin material. They're packaged in a box. So, do you recycle that? Do you throw it in the bin? So, who is responsibility for that? And where does that responsibility lie? And actually, probably a good thing for yourselves and the NHS is that does lie with business. We are responsible legally and ethically for a lot of that. So I suppose from taking away from this slide is very much how do you start reducing your carbon in your supply chain? And I would say to everyone is ask us for the data, ask us what we're doing, put the pressure, we mentioned peer pressure, put the pressure on business very much so, because we kind of want to fulfill customer needs, that's our goal. And if your need is a sustainable supply chain, then that's very much where we see ourselves going. Okay, so this, I'm not going to dwell on this. This is just some of the things we've done from a facilities point of view, and you know, they're very common things. There's nothing hugely innovative here, but we're maybe listening to others speaking a bit further down the line than others. So we are a zero waste to landfill organisation. We don't put anything into a hole in the ground. We segregate all waste streams. Anything that can't be further recycled goes to a material recovery facility. And anything left over after that gets baled into energy from waste pods, and they do get burned, but in a you know, a sustainable way to make energy from waste. We run carbon offsetting projects, you know, where we can't further reduce our carbon footprint. We invest in offsetting projects. Again, from an involvement point of view within your organization, these are brilliant for kind of getting the green message out to everyone. And you can start small. You can say, let's just offset a ton. You know, we get our staff to vote on what they want to invest in, and it kind of puts that green you know, green credential thing right at the forefront of your organization. Everyone can get involved. Everyone thinks, oh, well, I'm going to read into this. Give you an example. I don't know if anyone recalls, if they go into a Tesco, they sometimes give you a token and you vote for a charity at the end of the day. We did exactly the same thing, gave everyone a token, and they voted for which offsetting project they wanted us to invest in. So, you know, from a engagement piece is huge, but it's so simple. And like I say, you don't have to go big. It doesn't cost a huge amount of money. There's stuff that can be done there. Energy efficient lighting, again, it's not revolutionary. As if by magic, I did not time that. The light's just gone off. It's motion activated. So I'll just wave my arms around. So the lights are only on when they need to be on. I'd obviously been sitting down for too long and hadn't moved about, but yeah, they're only on when they're on, and when they are on, they're being as efficient as they can be. So that's a big piece we've done for our site. We have electric vehicle charging stations, which are free for staff to use, so it encourages take up of that. We're also looking at green fleet as well, certainly for we have a fleet of technicians out on the road. Certainly looking for them. Challenges with that: technician in Scotland, the infrastructure to charge the vehicle on long journeys is just not there. London, a lot easier. So there's geographical challenges with electric vehicles. And we do procure 100% certified renewable electricity on site as well. So I suppose, how are we helping our customers be greener as a business? Now, there's lots of ongoing things, but I'll just run through some of the stuff we're already doing. So we're looking at digitization of our supply chain. So this goes right from customers actually ordering the product, receiving the product, and also the after sales side of things. So, you know, there's a lot of paper involved. We ship over 1,000 orders a day. Every one of those used to have a pick note. Every one of them used to have a dispatch note and an invoice in the box. So that's 3 pieces of paper per order. So just instantly, by switching customers to, you know, paperless invoicing, paperless picking in our warehouse, you save a huge amount of virgin resource. And, you know, that's very much a kind of ongoing journey with that. I'll discuss the sheep on the next slide. Us being based in South Wales, we had to get a sheep in there somewhere. There's anyone can insert obvious jokes there. But yeah, we'll discuss the sheep in a sec, because it has a wider kind of message to that. And we've done a lot of investment in our warehousing as well. We have a box builder and a box sealer. They build a box that is the right size for the order, and the sealer seals the box onto the product. So you're getting a lot of reduced transport volume and weight. Plus there's a complete reduction of use of plastic or cardboard loose fill. Also as well, the box sealer glues the box, so there's no plastic tape being used. So that's another kind of way we're just trying to get rid of plastics from your supply chains, things like that. So we'll move on to the next part, which is kind of the sheep part. So this is partly about innovation, partly about reducing supply chain impacts, but also kind of the wider message is that by going eco-friendly, it has an ethical carbon saving, but it also can have a cost saving as well, massively. So we looked at a part of our business, so that's our pharmaceutical distributions. We used to send them out in polystyrene boxes. I think that's really common, both in the food industry and for pharmaceuticals, because we think polystyrene is a really good insulator. So we've switched to a product called Wool Cool for pharmaceutical distribution. It uses sheep's wool as the insulating product. The wool is contained in a biodegradable bag, and it means the outer shell can be cardboard, which is curbside recyclable, as is the wool. And essentially this product, as some of the things there suggest, it uses fewer ice packs. That saves weight on transport. You get a greater space, so you can ship more per box. Like I say, the wool is an extremely good insulator, and it's an extremely sustainable product as well. So we've completely eliminated polystyrene from our supply chain, which is good for customers, and you can recycle it there. I suppose as I mentioned, the wider message with this is that there are innovations out there, and they often can be cheaper. They don't necessarily have to be an expense to a business. Polystyrene box, I think top of my head, was like £4.56. Wool Cool box is £3.50. So it's and you know, judging by how many we send out, that's a huge saving for us, but also it's a huge carbon saving as well. So I suppose what's next and how are we going to further this? So again, we're still on the journey to removing all plastics from our dispatch packaging. So we still do tapes and boxes. So there's for the bigger products, you know, things like your couch rolls, things like that, the glue, you either have to use more of it or you have to use a different size box for different products. So yeah, we're going to move to kind of plastic-free tapes. So like your paper-based tapes, things like that. I think one of the probably the biggest things both for NHS and all suppliers is the sourcing of these eco-friendly products, and very much working with manufacturers on, you know, sustainable sourcing of raw materials. We also look very much at life cycle of products. So, you know, right from how much carbon does it take to manufacture this product, and what are the downstream impacts of it on the environment as well. So there's a huge amount to be done with that. I think a few people have touched on kind of products being hugely impactful, and can we continue to provide care? I think Toby mentioned it earlier. Can anyone who's providing care continue to provide care in a sustainable way using current practices? And that's very much a focus for us, is to make that easier for our customers and people using products. But like I say, it's a massive piece in our view. You know, certainly with some of the single-use products, gloves, how do you make those more sustainable? And it's kind of starting that whole journey there. Again, we want to help our customers with the whole monitoring and measuring piece. I think the NHS is going to start requesting a lot of carbon data from supply chains, and it's maybe that's something that you can do as well. You know, we are recording this stuff, whether it's in a format that you can use, that's different, but that's where we need to work with our customers to make that available and in a way that you can use it. So, you know, I could tell you our carbon footprint from energy use, but how does that translate into your carbon footprint as an example? So that's kind of where there's a dual focus there. And John, I think you mentioned earlier, I think this monitoring and measuring piece is vastly important, because until you can measure something and actually monitor it on an ongoing basis, we find it with certain things, you really are just kind of, it's, you know, finger in the air kind of territory there. So if I was to offer, or if anyone wants any advice, I think a really good starting point for measuring for conducting some sort of environmental impact assessment is to start with the things that can be measured, because the things that can't, that comes later. I think it's anything that you can measure and you can get data for, like your waste tonnages, your energy use information. That's where you that's your start, very much a start point for assessing your impact on the wider environment. And, you know, I put solar last. We are looking at solar, as is everyone. One thing I'd probably say with solar, people think it's expensive. You know, a lot of these bigger solar companies, they offer a hire purchase, which are cost positive from day one. So the solar actually pays for itself from day one. You never actually are in a negative cost with things like a hire purchase. And, you know, so that's not widely communicated, but you know, people think, oh my God, I've got to spend millions and millions on solar, and it's kind of not the case anymore. Especially with energy prices, the ROI is huge on them there. So I suppose that's it from me for right now. But I suppose if anyone has any questions, and I'd also put suggestions under that as well. So as a business, as I mentioned, we are all about fulfilling customer needs. And if anybody has any suggestions how they would like us to kind of act or be better or kind of help, then we're really open to those suggestions as well. And yeah, thank you very much for your time today and listening to me ramble on. So.
Thank you, Jamie. It was an entertaining ramble. I think you're being unkind to yourself. It wasn't a ramble. There was so much interesting stuff there that what it tells me is you really have to interrogate your organization to find the opportunities to innovate, to bring in greener things. I mean, I would never for one moment have dreamt about the wool, the wool materials, for example, as an alternative to polystyrene boxes. I'd have never dreamt about the sealant that you're using in your packaging to make sure you can get more things into an individual pack. You know, this is clever stuff, but it tells me the importance of just rigorously interrogating every aspect of your organization, and you will find stuff. Every time you look, you will find, if you have an open mind.
I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but with that interrogation piece, they call it the supercar gram method. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, but when they make a supercar, they often take an existing car and they shave grams off. So they shave a gram off the wing mirrors, they shave a gram off the wheel trims, they shave a gram off here. And what that equates to is kilograms. And that's what, like you say, with that interrogation piece, you may think it's a small thing, but you change that, it saves a bit. You change another thing, it saves a bit. You can go after your big wins, absolutely, but doing that as well right through an organization really does help. And like I say, the grams make the kilograms very much so.
Thank you, Jamie. And now that we know you're a supercar fan, we'll do all we can.
I'm not actually. I'm completely against them. So.
Oh right, okay. So that was a bit of a red herring in that case, but
yes,
no, we completely get the sentiment. Thank you.
Yeah.
Listen, Patricia asks, do you know, is there a UK manufacturer for non-sterile gloves?
I haven't come across one. From my experience, a lot of the manufacturers are in Asia. Like I say, we do look at sourcing things from as locally as possible, but with some things you just can't get them.
I think there's some activity in Turkey. I think, well, that's a site nearer than the Far East, that's for sure. So I think Turkey has some manufacturing capability in that regard. But
yeah, absolutely. I think what we find as a supplier is, as you're probably well aware, with medical devices, they're so highly regulated now. When you do get something closer, or you know, there's often they often don't meet a certain standard, or they don't, or it's very hard to onboard them, and especially into the NHS, who are very rigorous with you know, product procurement and you know, sterility and data and things like that. I think that's probably one of the main hurdles we find is people who set up thinking they can get to market but they actually don't have the right credentials, certainly for NHS primary care or hospitals. That's kind of one of the main challenges we find, shall I say.
All right, thank you very much. So that was Patricia. Do we have any final questions for Jamie, anybody? No, I think that was very comprehensive, Jamie. Thank you. And what is, the thing I've picked up, if anybody's been like me listening to all of this from the very beginning, is if you've been making notes throughout, you will probably have about a dozen pages of very tightly typed information now, all sorts of ideas from the small to the very large about how you can successfully achieve greater environmental sustainability and carbon reduction. And Jamie, you've really helped with some fermentation of some ideas there. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, everybody. Well, look, that's it. Hasn't that been an absolutely fantastic afternoon? We've had the integrated care system for Devon. We've had a panel discussion on how to start conversations about sustainability. We've had greener care in the social care sector from Elaine and Jasmeet and Adam. We've had the Royal Wolverhampton and Walsall Healthcare telling us about what they've been doing in the acute setting. And we finished up with Williams Medical giving a tour de force around distribution and logistics, environmental sustainability. I'm going to ask Elaine, Elaine is our chair of our special interest group for greener care. Elaine, do you have any final comments that you might like to make or observations?
John, thank you. It's been just fantastic. My head is so full, I'm probably going to have to go and have a lie down for a few hours because there's so many ideas, lots of creativity and lots of things we can steal shamelessly from each other. So really happy to have anybody join us in the group. Do come through Jade and let us know your names and we'll try and link you in. I think that's already in the chat, but thank you for everybody joining today.
Thank you, Jade. If you could just pop your email address in the chat one more time, I think that would be very helpful. But thank you, Elaine, for all the work that you do behind the scenes within the special interest group. It's invaluable. We are very fortunate at the Institute to have our individual members predominantly who are chairs of our special interest groups, and it really does work very well in that regard. If you've got any final comments that you would like to make, do please feel free to email Jade or Elaine. And they'd be only too happy to address them. If you're still interested in environmental sustainability and greener care, do please join the special interest group. You've only to drop an email to Jade Maloney, who will happily make sure that you receive an invitation to the next one. But for today, I think that's just been fantastic. How do I feel? I kind of feel confident and empowered again. You probably judged from my question at the beginning, I wasn't altogether confident, but actually my faith has been restored. I think we've got a bit of a chance here. So there we go. Thank you to everybody for your exuberance and energy and positivity in that regard. All right, that's it. We'll leave it at that. Have a super weekend. Thank you to everybody who contributed. Huge thanks to Jade Maloney, Queen of Virtual Conferencing, behind the scenes for all that she's done to make it all tick. That's been delightful. And we'll see you at the next Greener Care Special Interest Group meeting, if not before. Bye-bye.